AliExpress is a great service for dropshipping, but let's be honest, it's a bit of a disaster in many ways. Today, I'm going to give you the top 5 alternatives to AliExpress. And at the end of this video, I'll give you tips to make your AliExpress experience that much better. Let's get into today's video. Hello and welcome to the Grey Owl Mindset Mentor. I'm your host, Ian Michael Pankhurst, and this is the channel which is solely dedicated to newbie entrepreneurs of all ages. Now, before we jump into today's Shopify dropshipping video, if you're new to the channel, make sure to subscribe and give the video a thumbs up. Right. Today, we're going to be talking about something that every dropshipper knows about, and that is AliExpress. But more specifically today, we're going to talk about the major problems with AliExpress. Now, don't get me wrong, I still think AliExpress is a fantastic service for beginners to dip their toes into the world of e-commerce. They have low prices and really an unbeatable selection of products. But we do have to talk about the elephant in the room when it comes to AliExpress. And what I mean by this is AliExpress has two main drawbacks. Number one, without a shadow of a doubt, is its long shipping times. Now, we know this is due in main by the fact that most of it has come from China. And the other issue, the second issue, is the really poor communication from sellers on the platform. Again, this is due in the main to the language barrier. I accept that. Anyway, earlier this week, I was thinking to myself, there must be more sites like AliExpress that I can use. So the good news is this: after quite an extensive research, I have compiled a list of my top AliExpress alternatives. But stick around to the end of this video and I'll be giving you a few pointers on the ways I've learned to get the most out of AliExpress, and why we may be forced to stay with AliExpress for a while to come. Okay, let's get into the top sites that I've found. Now, the number one I came across is one called banggoods.com. This is a site very similar to AliExpress, and the average shipping time can be as low as 9 to 15 days. It gives a much larger range of payment methods, which is obviously more convenient to our customers. There are also quite a few products on banggoods.com that I couldn't find on AliExpress, which means you could find products that your competitors might not know about. So that's I think quite exciting, aren't you? Okay, it's worth pointing out some of the sites on my list cost money to join. Not all of them, but some of them. So that may be a little bit of a disadvantage to some people. To others, it's a good thing because it means there should be a better quality control. We know AliExpress is free, but as we all know, free isn't always a good thing. Anyway, back to the list. Number 2 on my list of AliExpress alternatives is a site called, and this is quite a catchy name I think, it's called Drop in the Box. And this has an even better shipping time, and they are quoting a time which is 7 to 12 days. What I did spot here, and I found this quite amazing, it has 24-hour processing time. And I must say that to me is very impressive. Okay, next on my list is a site called Mini in the Box. It's a similar name to the previous one, and I suspect it actually may be operated by the same company. But it's a very, very good site, and it's well worth looking into. Some very nice low prices, and they claim to have also very low shipping times, very similar to the first one. There is a drawback, but I can only really see one drawback. At first glance, there's not the amount of product selection that AliExpress has. But it really shouldn't matter if you're able to find products in your niche on the site, and I see no reason why you shouldn't be able to, because it still covers all the niches that we talk about. Right, lastly on the list is a site called Sale Who. This site actually looks very good indeed. And they have over 8,000 pre-approved suppliers. And that to me is a very positive thing. Now, I mentioned earlier that some are going to cost a little bit. This one, in fact, is going to cost you $67 a year. But if I'm honest with you, every business I've done throughout my life, I prefer to keep quality as high as possible. In fact, over the years, I've actually turned businesses down because I felt the quality wasn't there, whether it was a service-based business or a product. The last site I mentioned was Sale Who. Definitely worth a look. So lastly on the list is the one that isn't exactly like AliExpress. It's called Pet Store USA, and yes, as you can gather from the name, it sells all the things pet related. But, this is the thing, but they are all from the USA, and they all have really good shipping times and prices you could mark up very nicely. Now, if you've seen my previous videos, as you know, I'm a great believer in the pet niche. So check that video out where I go into detail on why the pet niche is so appealing. One more bonus I found, and again it's quite similar to AliExpress, and it's called GH Gate. This one is almost a carbon copy of AliExpress, but could be worth looking into. Maybe some of your products for your niche that you hadn't seen before, maybe some faster shipping. So that's my list of top AliExpress alternative websites. One thing I really want to explain to you is this. Whether you decide to use one of these alternatives or you decide to stick with AliExpress, there are a few things that I must make very clear if you want your drop shipping experience to go much smoother. And it's this: communication with the seller. Before you put your product on your site, before you do anything, I would suggest very strongly that you write a message to the seller asking him a number of pertinent questions. You must find out the processing time. Some of you may know this, but processing time is not shipping time. It's additional time before the product is shipped. And in my experience, this is where some of these suppliers are trying to take advantage of us just a bit. Some of these suppliers have a 10-day processing time before they ship. And I don't have to explain to you how problematic this can be. Contact the seller and try to pin them down for a processing time. I'm not trying to sound harsh about these suppliers. They are in China after all. But what I will say is, don't message just one supplier. Message as many as you possibly can until you find the one that answers fast, answers clearly, answers honestly. Even if it's a more expensive, and it won't be that much more expensive, it's worth it. Shipping time, folks, here is the key. we must keep our shipping times as low as we can. As I said earlier, there is a reason that we may be stuck with AliExpress for a while, and that is because of the Shopify app Oberlo. I've explained in my step-by-step guide, which you can again see on my channel, just how amazing Oberlo is, and the reason I mention it here again is that all of AliExpress alternatives I have named out in my list are not necessarily compatible with Oberlo. Now this shouldn't be a deal breaker, but to many the convenience of Oberlo is just something they couldn't live without. So what I'm saying is, even if you don't care much about Oberlo, it is the reason that AliExpress will remain, at least for a while, the king. So that's it for today, folks. I really hope you found this information useful, and I really do hope that it will make your Shopify experience less stressful. To be honest, the business itself is stressful enough, and the easier we can make it, the happier we're going to be, and happier people make more money, and you know the story from there. I would appreciate it very much if you would let me know in the comments below what you think of these videos. I've put out quite a few now, and for those that have subscribed, I thank you. Your support is greatly appreciated. So if you haven't started your Shopify store yet, there is a link in the description to a free 14-day trial. So I'd encourage you to start today if you haven't already. So listen, that really is it. I'm going to wrap it up now. I wish you all the very best. I wish you every success in your e-com journey, and I'll see you in the very next video, which will be very soon. So bye for now. Keep well.